Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a video talking about the new controlled glass mousepad from Wallhack, the concept of control mousepads in general, and comparing it to the VA5, their recent speed pad release. So yeah, this is the VA, and it just has a much more open, like lighter glide that has less resistance, and most notably with the CR, it's easier to come to a stop when I just make like a fast flick in one direction, for example. It's not like I'm overshooting. Some of these new glass pads like the Beast Phantom VA, they almost like speed up as you increase pressure. I had to pick one feature of the CR that really like shows its control. That's what it is for me. Like when I'm just doing a glide test, this doesn't look like this ultra controlled pad, but it's almost like it has a higher dead zone than the VA. Like there's this slight area around your mouse where you're not going to be like wobbling around all the time. The static friction is still fairly low, but it's not the lowest on a glass pad by any means. It is skate dependent, as all glass surfaces will be. This is, I forget what they're called, like the Obsidian Pro Airs. These are definitely a controlled option with the F1 Extreme. Yeah, when I tested on the VA, it's not like these skates become incredibly fast, but there is just a quicker feeling, and notably, like when I press in, it still maintains a lot of smoothness. You definitely do pick up much more like texture feedback. You get that increased sense of control on the CR. So yeah, I consider this to just be a controlled glass option. If you are using like faster PTFE skates, I do hear that it like rips through PTFE, but I don't think anybody's had enough time on this to really tell. I can say that my most enjoyable experience was the Viper V3 Pro with stock skates, because I do get like still some of that glass quickness. I will say I'm kind of sidetracking, but the surface is really nice on my arm. I didn't get any sticking, really any issues at all. I felt no need to wear a sleeve. While on the VA, I remember when I was testing that, it was more so. But yeah, I have seen the CR get compared to cloth pads a lot, and I just don't really find that to be the case. I've been putting a lot of time on the GSRSE, obviously the Artisan Zero, and with glass, there's just always going to be that ability to, if you're putting a light amount of pressure, just cover more ground without any resistance. With this, you're never going to match the density of a cloth pad on a glass pad. Obviously, even though this isn't like a plushy pad, there is still a Z-axis you can press in. It's comfortable on your arm. You're never going to have the dust issue. I can go on. It's just a fundamentally different thing. And then people will be like, but if you isolate the speed alone, then it's pretty similar. And still, I don't find that to be the case. Like, yes, this is a unique glass pad. If you do put downward pressure, it will slow down more than other glass. And I'll even give this credit and say if you are used to cloth, it'll probably be an easier transition, but it's still just totally a different experience, really in every way. And like, if you want this to have speed and you don't put a lot of pressure, you're going to find it to still have quickness. Like, it's not, some reviews are making this out to be a mud pad. I just hope it's clear, like from the demonstrations, that it doesn't play muddy. And yeah, if you put like 100+ pounds of pressure, it is pretty impressive. It's almost like stuck in the pad. You compare this to cloth, it actually does have an easier time moving around, you could even say. But that's not how much pressure you actually put in game. And yeah, you can see how much these skates have scratched up already. So if you are putting that amount of pressure, hopefully you have some durable skates. So, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say. I've been testing this for just under a week, on and off, with mostly other cloth pads than the VA5. I did not like test every glass pad in my rotation. I just know, going off of like comparisons, this is on the slower end of the spectrum. And yeah, it does objectively offer you a more controlled experience than the VA. I did find this pretty enjoyable in Fortnite. It's not like what I'd want to main, but I wasn't having many issues. I found the speed more controllable than most glass options, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the stopping power, just the ability to stop without overshooting rather, or just the impact from me pressing left click, like accidentally moving my mouse a bit, that is something that I noticed on this pad. So while it does seem like I'm not hating on it, but I'm exposing it for not being a fucking cloth pad, because I mean, it's just not cloth. At the same time, I do think it offers a pretty good glass experience. But yeah, one thing I will say is you can probably notice the surface doesn't look clean. It looks like there's a lot of dust. I speculate that some of those are PTFE shavings, like from my skates. And yeah, dead skin. This pad it does pick up a lot of stuff. Just going over it doesn't necessarily make noise, but the dust issue is definitely prevalent on this. Obviously, like, using quiet dot skates will fix that, but you can see it's not like I haven't cleaned my surface. In fact, I used the Skypad glass cleaner and a microfiber cloth, so it seems like that may have even, like, sped up the surface. Now I'm getting a bit conspiratorial, but yeah, I swear, like, the first day or two I tested this, it did seem a bit more, like, controlled, just a bit stickier in general, but you still do get that, like, buffer zone that keeps it from feeling as open and low initial friction as something like the VA. So yeah, I don't think you can really say one is like way better than the other. For most like longtime glasspad users, the VA might be like more what you're comfortable with. There's not going to be really any tug issues when you're swapping directions. Just in general, friction is much lower compared to the CR, but again, if you aren't putting in a lot of pressure, you don't have an extremely controlled skate, you won't make the most out of the control on the CR, but really no matter what, you're going to find it to be a more controlled experience. Like, nobody's going to say that this is the fastest glass pad they've tried unless it's the only one you've tried. And it's a nice, like, in-between point between cloth and glass speed-wise, but I won't say this is it performs like a cloth pad. So that's really all I have to say for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, I know I didn't really cover the whole world of mouse skates that currently exist today. I mostly just wanted to make the point that depending on what setup you use and how much pressure you put when you aim, this may not be as controlled as you think, but it's certainly, I mean, as advertised, it's slower than the VA. At the price, 120, it doesn't seem like a bargain, but there aren't many readily available controlled glass pads. So eventually, if you wait, like find this on a sale, I don't know, if it really sounds great, you can go for it. Use code boardzy, all of that. But yeah, that's going to be all. Like and sub if you enjoyed. Peace out.